Welcome to Toast and Jams. My name is Alex Session. We like to invite creatives on this show to talk about their life and process. And today we have Dego, a musician and DJ, amongst other things, from London. How do you describe yourself?
Firstly, where's hair and makeup? What's going on?
Oh, right, okay. Well, you got to do that yourself. You don't need makeup. Maybe you need some hair.
I mean, see what I'm saying?
Don't we all? So, yeah, Dego, how would you describe yourself?
How would I describe myself? Yeah, musician. Love of music.
Yeah.
Producer.
Yeah.
DJ now and then. Part-time DJ. But,
yeah.
You know, just make underground dance music, basically.
Cool. We like to ask guests to bring a drink on to toast.
Okay.
So what have you brought for us today?
Oh, ginger shot.
From, well, we don't need to say.
Are we doing that? No.
We don't need to say.
I think everybody will know from the shape of the bottle where it's from or whatever.
Why have you chosen a ginger shot?
Well, number one, I always want to keep the cold and the flu at bay as much as possible.
Okay.
The sore throats and all that stuff, yeah?
Yeah, and this helps?
This helps, and I think this one has for most ginger drinks, they don't have much ginger in. This one's got a fairly good, portion of ginger in.
All right. Do you want to know?
If it was homemade,
Do you want to know the percentage to apple juice and ginger?
Here we go. We're doing this, yeah. Oh God, he's going to go stat
It's
on me.
75% apple juice and it's 25% ginger.
I mean, but most places, I'm certain it'd be 10%.
There's another brand that maybe, I don't know if we can name it or not, but
a rival
they
brand.
do 37% ginger. And I tried to get my hands on it, but I couldn't actually find it. So
it's a shame.
There you go. Yeah, but cheers. All right.
Nice one,
Let's toast. Do you have to do it in one?
In what? No.
No?
Well,
is that
a thing? Oh, it's a shot. Okay, then we're doing it in one then. All right, mate.
Well, I mean, that's what it's called, a shot. I can't.
Okay, all right, we're doing one. Okay.
That's how you treat a shot, right? Cheers.
Nice one, Alex.
Okay. Yeah, it's gingery.
It's not mezcal.
It's gingery enough. No, it's not mezcal. Next time. Yeah. We also like guests to pick a tune from their teenage years that was quite influential in in their journey. And it's not an easy task, but it's a nice thing to think about. It's nice to try and pick one because it's not easy.
Yeah.
What tune did you pick and why?
Wizkid and
not
Globe.
Wizkid, like the Afro beats from Lagos guy. No,
the original Wizkid.
The original Wizkid.
Yeah, from New York.
Yeah.
And a tune called Play That Beat. It's the electro era of hip hop, which is very influential to me. And it was the first like pop culture thing, you want to call it, that I actually felt I participated in properly.
What do you mean participated?
As in, I had a tracksuit to break dance in, I mean?
Oh, cool. Right. Adidas, like red trackies.
Whatever, yeah. I had the fat laces and all that kind of stuff.
So it came out in 83. How old were you in 83, if you don't mind me asking?
13.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're literally discovering the culture you want to choose,
Yeah.
Because but before that, it's parents.
Yes, whatever, yeah. Parents and, whatever's on
all right, cool.
radio. Yeah.
So that was the first scene
First
you
one I felt
into.
like it was the own thing you was getting involved in was hip-hop,
Yeah,
the early
okay.
days hip-hop, yeah.
Cool. Did you take part in breaking and stuff?
I was popping, and
sick.
And
you
so I wasn't good at breaking that, but I was pretty good at popping and all that.
Yeah, you got the frame for popping, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. That's really cool. What is it about the tune that kind of do you think grabbed you at that age and that time? That caught your attention?
I like the fact it had a groove. It had a kind of futuristic sound to it slightly as well, because there was bambata and all that stuff as well that I loved.
Yeah.
But it also, but it had it was like a lot of party records were kind of cheesy for the most part, even back in those days,
Well, yeah, like the good times.
Yeah,
stuff
and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was disco-y.
Yeah,
it was riding off the back of disco, wasn't it?
Yeah, which was cool, but it still, it doesn't sit well after a while, But this, for some reason, I think it's still has a vibe to it that was like quite
Definitely.
unique to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And we're going to put the link in the description for the tune so people
Okay.
can hear it.
Yeah.
Would you say hip hop was your first musical love, like independent first musical love?
Independent, yeah. That between that and the ska revival,
Okay.
which was, you know, specials, the
Yeah.
beat,
Right.
and all that lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
something I was into as well. So,
Sick.
you know, I had two-tone trousers and all that stuff as well. So
All right, cool. I need to see photos.
so it's about that life at that time, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's kind of derived, that kind of comes down from parents, because, you know, parents are Jamaican, so we had ska music and all that stuff in the house.
Of course.
So,
Yeah. Original ska.
so,
And you got many of those records still?
well, they're in Jamaica. Yeah.
Right. Sick.
Dad's got loads of records.
Yeah. That would be a good listen. A lot of people would consider the 90s to be the kind of golden age of hip hop, right? Talking about hip hop. What do you consider to be the golden age of hip hop?
I don't know. I have a bit of argument about that, I think.
Yeah.
Because the 90s is when it's established, but the 80s was, I think, it was going into new directions all the time. You know, we had, you know, disco hip hop, we had the electro hip hop, and that's the beginning of sampling jazz and all that stuff. Hip hop was all in the 80s.
Yeah.
And different types of rhyme patterns and whatever were all created in the 80s. There's a lot of things you could point back to Rakim doing something in you know,
100%.
88, 89 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's I'm a bit more, I feel that the 80s doesn't get the respect it really deserves. Yeah.
It's a lot more innocent too.
Yeah.
And less considered, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
And not everybody, and people don't know they can possibly go platinum.
Right. So there's less kind of what's the word?
Contrived you know, way of doing it. Yeah.
I know where this could go, so I'm gonna do it this way. Whereas they were just doing it in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's pure, it's coming from its pure you know, block party sense, I guess.
And how does that sound from the early 80s, especially the electro, like synthesized beats and stuff? How does that kind of play into the start of your creative journey of making music?
I mean, the first group I was in, For Hero, is basically derived from African Barbara and the Soul Sonic Force and all that type of way of thinking.
Break beats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break beats and stuff, and the name of the group and all that, and how I remember you know, I hadn't heard Kraftwerk and things like that first. I heard, you know, Bambaataa and those things first. You know?
Yeah.
Them sampling some of those things and playing their own, and Arthur Baker doing his bits or whatever and all that. And remember, had Mantronics and all that.
Yes, yeah, of course. Dun, dun,
So
dun,
like
dun,
you're hearing
dun.
all these kind of mad sounds or whatever. You're like,
yeah.
And if you're used to just, you know, the regular way of making music, not so electronic or whatever, this was mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, that was like what excited us when it came to making music, you know what I mean? So,
but what was the barrier to entry like in the 80s for making electronic music? Because now it's obviously the path is clear. You just buy a laptop and you're away.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But what was the kind of, how did you overcome?
Well, a mate of mine.
How did you get there?
Boy Gus, he had a 626 drum machine.
Yeah.
And he bought...
What's a 626 drum machine?
Some Roland, like, step right and tap
like
right.
Like an SP? No.
No, not even like it. It's just for triggering. Just for like... It had its own kit sounding, but it's terrible.
Yeah.
Sounds in it.
Right.
But we used it to sequence the S950 Akai.
Yeah.
And that's what we was doing. Some people used to do it with their SP, what was it, SP100 or whatever it's called? Yeah.
So no Atari? Were you Atariing it?
No, Atari
hadn't even come out.
We didn't have it first yet.
Right, yeah.
A little while afterwards, then we had the Atari with the...
So just sequencing with hardware?
Yeah. That's how it was, yeah. So
the 950 is a legendary sampler. Would you say, what was the importance of a sampler? I mean, like, it's kind of ever since samplers have come out, they have almost been the most important thing in the room, really. But what would you say, like... It probably wouldn't have been possible to make the music you were making, right, without a sampler at that time.
Well, you had a bunch of people that, you know, weren't musicians making music, basically.
Right.
So sample was
Yeah, it had to be done.
had to be done.
Yeah.
Because originally all of us was turntablists. We was cutting
yeah.
and scratching and stuff. So
I was going to ask you about turntablism.
Is that kind of mentality used to whilst using the sampler? So instead of having to go deck to deck, or we used to do pause button.
Because that's where you're hearing the stuff first is on the decks.
Yeah.
And then you go and sample it after that. Right, yeah.
So so basically it goes turntables, then it goes to, no, not even that. No, it goes first, pause button, cassette things. You do that, mixes or whatever. Then you go, then if you save up enough and got enough money, you get some turntables, do that, Usually your first turntables are terrible ones to be doing it with, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's
right passage.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe better set of decks, you get your 1200s. And after that, sampler, you know what I mean? So
what was the sampling power at that time in the 950?
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
which is like 1 megabyte or something like that. I don't know
how many seconds it was, but it was seconds. It wasn't minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Seconds we're talking about. I think it might have been, was it 30-something seconds? I don't know. It depends.
What, like overall on the whole thing?
Yeah, that's it.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
But that limitation is pretty good for creativity.
Yeah, you have to do all kinds of stuff to make the best out of it.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of like to talk about time stretching and claim discovery of it. But how did you come across time stretching in that period? Now we're talking about the 950. I think it's probably a good time to talk about that.
Well, Goldie done this record Terminator where he used the Eventide harmonizer.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the effect.
Would you say so? What, he was doing it before you?
Yeah. That was the first time we was like, how do you do that? Obviously, we didn't have it. The studio he was using had it.
But the 950 was capable of doing time stretching.
Yeah, right. It was,
Right,
but,
okay.
But we hadn't thought about that, and he done this thing with the harmonizer. We were like, so we must be able to do that some way.
So he was giving back to you a bit with that, which is quite cool.
Yeah, so we're like, there must be a way of doing it, so we got deeper in the 950 and worked it out.
So what's time stretching? Just in case anyone listening doesn't know what time stretching is.
All right. Time stretching at the time was playing a beat at a higher pitch, but at the same speed.
On a sampler,
which it wasn't, a thing to do. People just didn't do that back in those days. There's a lot of things on the sampler people, it wasn't made for, they didn't think people would use it those ways, but we done that. So inspiration for doing that was Goldie's tune, and then we done that.
Cool.
In the
all right.
tune.
Sick. Yeah. Because I mean, that's that sound or that effect is something that I just took for granted, like becoming a teenager in the 90s, and then like growing up with all of those sounds around us. It was just like time stretch snare was just standard for me. Just So anyway, it's pretty cool. So it's kind of going back to the 80s. That was when you started doing pirate radio, right?
Yeah.
And DJing. Yeah. Were you doing turntablism on pirate radio at the same time, or like?
No. I wasn't the best at that to be doing that live on air. No.
Yeah. What was the station you first started on?
Strong Island FM. That's how I met Mark and Ian and Gus and the rest of the guys.
Okay, cool.
So they had a pirate radio station called Strong Island FM.
How often were you on there?
Once a week. It was every weekend.
Once a week. Yeah, cool.
It was like Friday evenings and then come off air late Sunday night.
What was it that kind of, were you playing out at the same time? You having gigs
I was playing out and doing parties and stuff. Yeah. And then I joined up with them a lot, and
what was the pirate radio scene like in the 80s? I've got no idea.
What is it like?
Well, what made you kind of like? How did it come onto your radar that people are doing pirate radio?
Before that, I was a fan of pirate radio. Like I was like,
okay. So what stations were you fan of?
LWR.
Okay. What was their vibe? What were they playing? Hip hop stuff.
Everything.
Everything.
Like, hip hop, jazz.
What were the scenes? That's what I want to know. Like, because it's really easy for me to be like, there was jungle stations, there was garage stations.
Oh, there was no jungle stations at that time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about from my point of view. But
so it was mainly like usually soul music, jazz funk.
Yeah.
Reggae, a lot of reggae pirate stations as well.
Yeah, of course, there had to be. Right. Does it tie in with sound system culture in the 80s, the pirate stations?
Yeah, they're kind of like...
Did they
overlap the
sound
whole
systems
thing.
had stations and stations had sound systems?
The sound systems would appear on a lot of the pirate radio stations, you know, and promote their dances or whatever, and then go off, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
and then a lot of the stations had their own nights. They have all-dayers. There's an all-dayer thing that used to happen, you know, turn up somewhere 12 o'clock midday, finishes 12 midnight, Kentish Town. That'd be a place for a lot of all-dayers and various spots around London.
So talk me through like starry-eyed Dego at this age, this time. You know, yeah, do you know what I mean though? Like I want to know how you felt looking up to the people that were doing what you wanted to do, and especially with the pirate radio stations and the shows.
Well, firstly, I didn't want to do it.
All right, and why is that?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
everything happened by accident.
Yeah, okay.
I just liked music, loved music, and I used to listen to the pirate radio stations, and I used to keep the radio I had in my bedroom there was no cassette to record or nothing like that, so I'd have a pen and a paper. I used to keep it next to my bed all the time. So if I heard certain tunes, and the man says it, write it down.
That's cool.
And then I go, you know, to the record shop on a Friday.
There's something very sweet about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is. You love music, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I used to have a part-time job. I was working. Where was I working? I had a paper out the early days. You know what I mean? As a kid, and afterwards I ended up working in one of them DIY centers. I forgot what it's called. I don't think they even exist anymore. Payless DIY, I think it was called.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I used to get my check on a Friday morning. Yeah. Go get the check, and I'm straight down to the Edgware Road or whatever to
get tunes.
Get tunes, man. Just buying tunes like Bluebird and various shops. There's a shop down Parade Street near Paddington Station I used to go in all the time.
What was your favourite record shop at that time?
This one that I can't remember the name of. He's a guy from Birmingham, and he used to have it was in the basement on, was it Parade Street in his Paddington Station? And it was in the bottom. And I used to go in there and he'd be like, all right, little man, I got some tins for you. And he'd just pull out this pile. I'm like, I ain't got enough money for that. He's like, don't worry, just listen in it. And you just go and listen. And then you're like, oh man. And then the whole of the check's gone.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You just, and you're like, oh, I'll come back for that one next week or whatever. And, you know, he was just like a proper dealer, you know what I mean? I loved him for he could put me on lots of music, you know? But he would laugh at me because I'd come in and say, oh, I want to buy this record or whatever. And it'd be like, it would be some old record from 10 years, 15 years previous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I just heard
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think it's brand new.
You like what you like.
Yeah,
it's brand new to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I used to laugh
and
about
that. Still happens. That still happens. But yeah, that's a special relationship, you know. That's definitely lost now.
Yeah.
I think the people that are still kind of keeping that up is radio DJs, really. That kind of like filter of a person that's playing you stuff.
Yeah.
And DJs in clubs, obviously. But so you spend all your check on records, and you DJing out at that time?
Yeah, I was doing some house parties and stuff like that. Yeah. But not that much, just only the odd now and then, someone's birthday party or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And how did you manage like life with education and playing at parties and making tunes at that kind of time?
Life evolved around the weekend and listening to music.
Right.
The work, you know, when I was in college or whatever, I was like, it was like whatever.
Do what you had to do.
I'm just doing what I'm got to do so I can make some money, so I can go buy some music and I can go enjoy myself on Saturday night or whatever. You know what I mean? That is literally it. You know what I mean? Just living to enjoy those 2 days off or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what you didn't even, think work was just work. It's not even a career. It's just like, just doing what you're doing. And even in college when I was studying and stuff, it was just like, I was just going through the motions.
So you kind of, so you went through the motions with the education side of things just to get on with the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
I can kind of relate to that. Yeah, fair enough. So like maybe we'll kind of skip forward a little bit and talk about the places that you've lived in so far.
Okay.
So we touched on London slightly, but I also want to talk about New York and Kyoto, obviously. How would you say, comparatively, the places that you've lived in, how have they affected your work, like creatively, like London, New York, and Kyoto so far? Are you able to kind of objectively look at them from that point of view?
When I moved to New York, I kind of romanticized this kind of like dirty 80s, New York scene with the punks and the b-boys and b-girls,
warriors walking
like,
around the streets.
just like all like this mad kind of mix of like like Basquiat, Andy Warhol, the whole kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that.
When did you? How old were you when you moved to New York?
I was in my 30s. Was I late 30s? I think I moved there. I can't remember.
But that's the image you had, was from the 80s.
Yeah, I was still like, hoping that the summer.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't the same. Obviously, I've been to New York many times since, before I went, and I knew, but I was hoping that kind of vibe and energy was still, the ripple effect of that would still be there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I was like, oh,
it's not
dry.
Yeah. It's not it's not like the kind of mobile phones and cocaine. Like,
nah, it's all Sex in the City and
you're right.
Yeah, an entourage, little twats. You know what I mean?
So, how long did you live in New York for?
About 4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Nearly 5.
And during that time, did you get some residencies and stuff and do some shows? And
I played some places and all that. Yeah. But I've never been one to be hunting down.
But were you making tunes out there as well?
I was making tunes.
Yeah.
But I must say it's kind of unproductive. And I used to come back to London.
Okay. So you could say it affected your creativity.
Yeah, it kind of like
in an unproductive way.
Yeah, it wasn't the best stuff, you know what I mean? But when I'd come back to London for like 2 months or a month to do some work, I was flying.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Something was stifling me in New York. It wasn't. I liked living there, but the idea of working there didn't appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So, doing your day-to-day stuff, all that was nice. It was cool, eating, shopping, whatever, and all that, all good. But when it came to the business of like having to deal with American musicians and stuff, nah, I'm all right,
Yeah. Well, look, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you're quite a real person, and there can be a lot of fakes.
Yeah, I can't. I don't go down too well over there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair enough. I can understand that. So yeah, like coming back to London, I guess that you're switching on the creativity again.
Yeah. I was like, it was crazy.
It's because all of your influences here, right?
Yeah. London's a very unique place. You think about all the kind of different influences we've got, and they used to talk about New York being the melting pot. It's bollocks. It's bullshit. It is because like, when I was growing up, I was walking in and out of like Indian people's homes.
Yeah.
I'm my mate Patel or whatever doing whatever, playing cricket with the O'Briens and stuff, like a couple doors away or whatever. You understand me? You know what I mean?
100%.
We all grew up together and just like
experience. Yeah.
So I know about a Bhangra beat. I know about this. I know, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
And then this place, you know what I mean?
New York alludes to it.
Yeah, it alludes to it, but it's not.
They like to pretend.
Yeah, they pretend, but you're not. You lot live down there. This lot live over there, and you don't want to. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
It's a facade over there.
Yeah, it's still segregated. It's still massively segregated. Nonsense. Or it's gentrified. It's segregated or gentrified.
One or two.
Yeah, but I think you're right. London is really like, is way more of a melting pot in that respect.
I mean, look, think about all the different types of genres and scenes we've had come out of London in the last 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
Like music superpower. I've always said
it can't be tested.
I don't. It's easy for me to say that as a Londoner, but it's true though. It's true though.
Someone tell me something.
Yeah.
It's facts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. I was talking to someone about Carnival the other day, and they said, I'm not going to name any names, but they said, Carnival doesn't represent black music. In Notting Hill, Carnival doesn't represent black music. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, yeah, you know, like there's not enough soca, there's not enough reggae, there's all this other stuff. I'm like, but where are you? And they're like, in London. I'm like, what is black music in London? Like, it is jungle, it is garage, it is all the other things that you're hearing. Like, yeah. I was like, wow, what do you mean it doesn't represent?
That's what the traditional stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about, yeah.
But I think you've got to look around you and take in, like, understand where you're at, you know. If you just want soca, Trinidad Carnival's good for that.
Exactly.
Really good for that. So, all right. So New York, uninspiring, let's say. Let's sum that one up maybe. You know, it's okay. New York's a city. It's not a person. We don't have to offend anyone. What about Kyoto in that respect?
Kyoto.
And how long have you been out in Kyoto for now? I mean, I kind of know,
two and a half, about years, yeah.
2.5 years. Yeah, where does it fit on the kind of, how is your creativity out there and how's it kind of affecting that flow?
It's just serene, just nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the whole...
So the music, would you say the music is, you can hear it in the music?
No, it's not. You can't hear it in the music. It's still just, you know, I still got my same flavor and flex on it, but my application to making it is near enough the same as in London, but less chaos, if you get what I'm saying. I can't explain it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, more peace.
Yeah, more peace. Yeah.
You're in a better place. You're happy. You're just happier.
Yeah, I'm just chilled. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
You know, and I'm more patient with it as well, because I used to be my problem when sometimes producing is like I can hear the finished thing already.
100%.
And I sometimes I just want to race to that.
Everything else is in the way.
Yeah, just get.
Yeah, everything else is in the way.
In Kyoto, I kind of I could just all right, let's just go through the process and be more methodical about it, and you know, you will get there. You know?
Yeah.
So
all right, talking about impatience with producing, just quickly, because I kind of become more and more, the more I make music and the more impatient I get with making it. And especially with having an idea that you can hear, I get further and further in the box in terms of like on the computer. Like what's your approach with, I know that you use a lot of hardware and a lot of instruments. How does that tie in with your impatience?
How does it,
how does it affect your impatience? And do you find yourself sticking with external instruments and hardware, or, you know, are you led towards in the box more with your impatience, would you say?
Oh, the impatience makes you go in the box more.
Right, yeah.
Because you can, there's a certain level of manipulation you can do inside the box in there to help you get to that point there. But the actual essence of what you want has to come from your own hands, kind of like that vibe or whatever. So just do it yourself and you'll be all right. But because you know you can, it's almost like shortcuts are inside the box. You get the you do it, but the result is never quite the same, if you get what I'm saying, doing it that way. And that's what you got to try. And you fool yourself to thinking sometimes that that's okay because, you know, I got to the finish line. But was it the finish line you really envisaged? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with when you start going inside the box too much. That's what I think anyway. So it's like I have to kind of pull myself back. Like, no, there's no rush. There's
so how do you fight
hot demand for this anyway?
How do you fight the impatience then? What like, you know, how do you?
I don't know. I think sometimes it's just like a bit of like confidence in knowing that like it's gonna be received the same way if this gets released next month as it would be released in 2 years' time.
Good music,
5 years'
good music.
Time. It
Doesn't matter when it comes out.
You've got to kind of remind yourself of all that type of stuff, you know, and then think about some stuff that you made years ago, you didn't finish, then 6 years later, you're like, oh, let me finish this, and you're like, oh,
someone signs it. And you're like, all right, okay.
You know what I mean? You've got to kind of remind you those types of things, like
Very true.
kind of like it doesn't have to be now. That's just your own. That's you. Like we get a little buzz from when you make something, and it's like there's a little buzz kind of that comes in. You got to kind of like rein it in a bit, the ego a bit of like it being fresh. You kind of hype off it because it's
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But fresh don't always.
I mean, some would
good.
argue you have to rein in the ego completely, right?
True, yeah.
You know, but
the and the ego,
it's useful.
It's
The
useful
ego's
for your
useful.
own taste. That helps you to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if
Exactly.
what is it then? If it's
Yeah.
not you,
yeah, it's true.
what are you making?
Yeah, your decisions have to be your ego's decisions, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, it's a good point. So that's where the peace comes in, and that's where the peace in Kyoto comes in.
Yeah. I think it helps a lot that way.
Yeah. Peace is good, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's underappreciated.
So how much have you moved all your stuff out there? How much stuff have you got here?
I've got
going on?
half the stuff.
Where are you?
Half the stuff in Kyoto and half the stuff is in
West
Wood Green.
So yeah, all right. Going back to DJing career and living in places, including like traveling and gigs and stuff. What's the kind of biggest culture shock you've had? Do you think?
Culture shock.
Yeah. In places you visited.
One of the things that was strange to me was when I went to South Africa.
Oh yeah.
And they don't like music faster than 120 BPMs.
I think that's still a case. That's
they
like now.
really like it chilled. If 120 tops, otherwise just.
How did you find that out the hard way?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
What did you play? What were you playing?
Play some mad
Jazz.
jazz.
What happened?
Just
everyone
like,
just slowly
what was
walked off.
going on? You know? Right.
Where did you play?
Joburg.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good parties then, you know.
The music seems amazing, right? I've not been, but from what I've heard. So slow tempos.
Yeah, they like it.
Well, Amapiano, correct me if I'm wrong, came from those ways, right?
Yeah,
and that's, 112, 113. So yeah, they're into that kind of vibe. So that's the biggest culture shock you've had. Someone
that's one
music.
that came straight to mind.
Oh,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
fair enough.
Yeah, and then
no mad meals or anything.
Mad meals.
You've been served up something and you're like, I've never seen this.
I remember first time one of the first times in Japan, and my boy, I went with Ian. This was 96 or something, yeah. And then the first time we had bonito flakes was on top of.
What's that?
So it's having yaki udon, and you had bonito flakes. Bonito flakes is a fish.
You got to explain these
bonito.
things. Yeah.
Bonito flakes.
Okay.
It's a fish, but they have flakes of. They make these really fine flakes. They have, okay, and if you put it on hot food, it looks like stuff's just moving. It's weird.
I need to see this.
Yeah, and it's just like that. So the first time you see that,
that's
like,
kind of trippy.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what's going on? Like, it's like your food's alive.
Oh wow!
But it's not. It's just the fact that the flake is so thin.
Yeah.
And the heat just has it going like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, is it like the little trick fish that you get?
Yeah.
When you get in a cracker and you put it in your hand and the fish curls. Have you seen those little things? Do you remember?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of concept?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get like on a physics level. I'm trying to understand
I'm not doing very well in explaining this. Yeah.
So the cutting up fish things I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, is that the kind of movement you're talking about?
No, it's more just like a little flake just going like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to just YouTube it.
Yeah. So it's not as bad as the fish thing, like doing that. No.
Was it nice?
Yeah, it's great. I love that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you moved over
time,
that way, so yeah.
The first time I've seen it, it's like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah. Who spiked me? So sticking with food and Japan, what would you say is your favorite dish? Which is a good question. It's a tough question. What would you say your favorite dish is in Japan?
All right, there's this
so far
around the corner from me. There's this place called Santaku Udon, and their udon is different. It's different, and it's they have a plum.
Oh yeah,
in the udon as well. Right?
So this is their secret.
Yeah, and it makes it kind of bitterish slightly taste with the udon. It's amazing, and the udon is like sometimes some udon it can be a bit too chewy, kind of like.
Yeah.
I think what they use what's it called, pressure cooker. I think that's how they do their udon. It's not just boiled. So the texture of the udon is like.
What did you say the name of the restaurant?
Santaku Udon in Ukiyo Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, near Hanazono or between Hanazono and Machi Station.
Okay.
That's where I live around that area. So it's my local.
Right.
Yeah.
And you hit them up all the time?
All the time.
Yeah,
They
nice.
see me about once a week.
Okay, good.
Once every 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Latest, yeah.
Yeah, so going from the 80s to the 90s, I guess, in like DJ career, music career, when was that light switched on for you that you realised you could make a career out of this?
We put out a record, clubbed together some money and put out one record, and it sold, but it's nothing to write home about or whatever. But it was fun. It was just we all had jobs and everything, and it was just a nice hobby thing we was doing. And then the next record we done an EP, and it took off, and it got to the stage we couldn't handle the distribute. We was distributing ourselves. Like,
how did it take off, and like what were the conditions? Also, we're talking about pressing records, which doesn't happen anymore as much.
Yeah. This is rave. This is like early drum and bass rave. You could call it rave music times. You know what I mean? It's that time of hip house,
right?
Acid house as well, and you had all the hip hoppers like us lot who love you, like Big Daddy Kane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like how Shut Up and Dance were like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing our kind of version of up tempo hip hop rave music, or what you want to call it, yeah. And the record was like it was selling out quickly, and we couldn't cope with the demand. So we had to get we got a distribution deal. Everything just blew up from there, and it looked like, oh, it was on the radio and everything. It was all kinds of stuff was going on. It was a bit much, to tell you the truth.
What was the first radio play you had?
Radio play we had. I think it was on Kiss. Was it Kiss 100 FM? Those days, yeah.
Was that when Kiss was freshly like?
Yeah, they only just been made legal. Yeah, recently. Yeah.
They were on Holloway Road at that point,
That's
right?
it. Yeah. It was Steve,
I just remember
Steve
that.
Jackson was. I think one of the people was playing that record.
Okay.
Like, he was a daytime
DJ,
and so that all happened, and then the funny thing about it after that is that it was a Pacific distribution, and then they went bankrupt straight afterwards.
Ouch! How did that happen?
Like 2 more records afterwards, and they used to do quite a lot of people. I think Shut Up and Dance on the same distributors and all that. So that was like we got a good we saw success, and we saw how fragile it all was straight away.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Because,
Yeah.
we had pressing
a proper window into all of it.
Yeah, so we had a big pressing bill we had to pay off. They were patient with us.
What were the pressing bills like at that time in relation to like sales and stuff?
It
a lot.
It was quite a lot. Yeah. We had to
You're going to give me any numbers?
No? Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then we had to, the pressing plant sorted us out, gave us a bit of time to pay it back off, and we did that. And then the records they're all doing well, even though we hadn't got paid for those records. We saw how successful they were.
Yeah, you saw.
And then we just thought to ourselves, just why don't we just go for it? You know what I mean? And I was like,
nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm young, there's nothing. Got no real responsibilities, or whatever.
So that was the break-off point. That was the kind of let's go.
Yeah, let's go. You know what I mean?
Sick.
But it was I think it was good that they went bust as well, because it made us not take things for granted, and we kind of was a bit reserved about how we done things.
Yeah, and you learned a lesson without having to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Through them, I mean. Yeah. Which is...
Well, no, we still had to pay.
No, oh, right, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
We still paid the cost.
Actually, yeah, no, fair enough. You still learned the hard way.
You still learned the hard way, trust me. There's a bit of pressure on.
But how does that cost compare to now? Because...
Oh, if that was now?
Like,
Oh, it's crazy. It would be crazy.
Like, let's say 1 unit cost then to 1 unit cost now.
Oh, God.
Do you know that? I mean, you're still putting records out.
So. Near enough since them days.
Double.
Yeah, okay. A single those days used to be what?
Yeah.
£5-6?
What, a single? You could pay... in the 90s, you could still pay a tenner for a single if you wanted to.
For a single? A tenner?
Sometimes. Well, maybe late 90s for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, probably 5. You're right. Let's say 5 for a single, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Now it's
it
what for a single for vinyl? It's
was like 13 quid in it now.
yeah, it's in the
12,
in the
13,
teens.
Yeah.
But there's less plants as well. There's less
that as
places
well, yeah.
to do it, and yeah, more scarcity and fewer people are pressing up.
Yeah,
fewer
there's
amounts.
fewer vinyl buyers as well. So
Yeah.
Why would you buy it when you can just stream it? Why would
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
or why would you digital download it when you can just stream it? Just
Yeah,
that's where we are now.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Looking at some earlier releases, there's lots of cartoon references.
Oh God, you've been
Tom and Jerry, Scooby Doo, to name a couple.
Yeah.
And some good video game references as well, actually.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about those influences and how they came about?
I don't know why we call Tom and Jerry Tom and Jerry. I have no idea. I don't remember.
I mean, it's a cool name for a duo.
Yeah, I know, but it works.
And also it lends itself to some cool artwork.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the thing. That's
right.
why. That looked good on the record.
Yeah, and you want it to be faceless, maybe. I don't know. I want to put words.
There's
in your
that
mouth,
as well. Yeah.
But I'm assuming. Yeah.
I mean, especially when like we got left with that pressing bill, we had to make loads of pseudonyms and stuff. That's why I got the work ethic from as well.
Oh right, so yeah, talk a bit about that.
So I had to make, we made up about 4 different groups where they're all us.
Wow, just because you had to.
Because we can't have the same artist releasing a record once every 2 weeks. It'd be crazy, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But that's what it was.
I guess
we just knock out this one, knock out that, and
that's mad. So what was your work rate like? It was just to pay this bill off.
Well, pay the bill off and to live. And I've committed now. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
So I used to live in the studio near enough almost. You know what I mean?
And this is the one in Dollis Hill.
Yeah. So I'd be there from early morning to the wee hours. Just go home just to sleep.
Yeah. And what kind of how many monikers did you have at this time?
Around that time, we had about 6. Something like that. I think.
And how many releases do each of these artists
have? I don't know.
How do they know? But at the time, like how many releases were you putting out under these names? Like a month or every 2 months or?
Oh, we had something out once, at least one a month or something like that. At least that
under each of the names.
Yeah, that's what we was doing. Yeah.
Wow, that's busy.
Trying to it wasn't joke time.
No, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
But that's cool to be that busy, and it not being digital age. I think there's a lot to be said for that, because you're gonna get some reward, something back from it if you're that busy, and you're selling.
You hope so.
And you're selling physical product, right? I guess
Yeah,
that's cool, man. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So talking about this Dollis Hill studio and the work ethic, with all of those artist names that all of the different projects, how often were you working with featured artists to like guest vocalists or collaborations?
Oh, that started a bit later.
Right.
That started later on in.
Why do you think that is?
Because we're just like having fun, sampling, whatever. It's not even thinking about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even regarding yourself as a magician or anything like that. You just just lads having fun on the sampler, just trying to make weird noises all the time and just experiment. And then you start getting to think, referencing the records you buy and think, maybe that is a good idea to have someone, instead of sampling, let's have a real vocalist come in and do this. Or
are there any standout vocalists that visited Dollis Hill at that time that you would say, were special?
Standout? I mean, it was really nice when I first met Diane Charmaine, who Goldie, she done the Timeless album.
Yeah,
I was working
amazing
with her and stuff.
Yeah,
and I remember her from 52nd Street.
Okay.
That was like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
Someone from 52nd Street.
So you were starry-eyed at that point. Yeah.
The closest I would be to it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah. That was a moment, definitely. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? I was really happy that we're actually working with her. That was a great moment.
And where do you How do you value collaboration in your kind of creative?
I
your
love
creative
it.
path.
It helps. It makes me perform better. I feel there's a pressure to like. I feel like if I'm working with someone, I have to contribute properly.
Mm.
You know what I
This is
mean?
totally different responsibilities to working
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah.
own.
It's like right, okay.
Suddenly there's someone else.
I got to show. I'm. Look, this is what I'm doing, and this is my idea.
Yeah.
This is my inversions, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're pushing themselves. That's why I like working with Kylie's great. Working with Matt Lord, we love it because like kind of push each other to get. I think maybe.
But I would say with collaboration, it might be more important to leave ego completely at the door in that sense,
yeah, definitely,
right?
yeah. It's about whatever getting it done.
Yeah.
And also knowing your strengths and weaknesses. There's a lot of times, I love playing bass guitar. Am I the best bass guitar player? No, my boy Mr. Mensah is. So I would always hand it off to him. You know what I mean? If I've got an idea, then I'll try and play with the idea, and you execute it. You know what I mean? I don't have to do everything. You know?
Yeah. It's whatever's best for the work, right?
Exactly.
Not what's best for you, kind of thing.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. And when it comes to working with Jill Scott, she kind of caught my eye. Did you get to work in the studio with her and write with her?
No, that's Mark done that one, and that was a remote one. That was send over the music, and she done it and send it back.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Those ones.
Yeah. So you didn't actually get to spend that time.
No.
Okay, that's a shame. So yeah, maybe actually talking about Dollis Hill and the studio still. Were there any mad stories about some like overnight work sessions in that space from that time?
Mad stories from Dollis Hill.
Yeah. That's the name of your memoirs, right? Mad stories from Dollis Hill. That'd be a good book. Man.
I'm trying to think of things that happened in Dollis Hill.
How long were you in that studio for?
We had like 1, 2. We had 3. We was in 3 different studios.
Yeah.
Well, 2 different studios, and then we built our own studio and they had a vacant garage. In the end, we built our studio there. We was there for about, I reckon 12 years, maybe, about 12, 13 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
To be in somewhere, to be somewhere and it be your creative home like that. Do you miss it?
Do I miss it?
As a creative space?
Yeah, in a way, because the space was, the layout was how I would like things. You know what I mean? I haven't had that type of layout since. So
what was it like?
Just everything plugged in.
Yeah. Okay, that's my dream. I don't have that.
None of this. I've got to go behind and plug this out. It's just like it just stifles the process in it. You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
disrupts everything.
Talk about impatience.
Yeah, and then the live room is right there.
Nice.
Drum kit sitting right there.
Set up and mic'd up.
Set up and mic'd up, ready to go. Let's go.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
That's all you do. Patching.
Yeah.
That's the shit that is right there.
Okay. So what's your new place like at the moment? Well, not new, but what's
studio we're at now?
Yeah.
It's good, but it's like there's a lot of wiring. Oh, I've got to use this keyboard. All right, dig it out from. It's only so many spaces for how many keyboards and stuff.
Right. Okay. So you got to be a bit more considered about what you're going to be using that day.
Yeah, and then, I've got too much stuff. Is it? So
yeah, fair enough. I've got a couple like quick fire questions.
Right.
Well, relatively quick fire, I guess. What's your favorite cake?
Cake?
Yeah.
The cake that I've missed being in Japan is Guinness cake from Ottolenghi.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay. Right. I didn't have that inside information that it was Guinness cake was the one.
Yeah, but it's they rarely, they'll make it maybe once a week.
I've never tried it.
On some random day, and if you don't catch it,
you just got to be lucky.
It's one of those ones.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to know a woman that worked there. We could kind of throw it up and
oh, okay,
save some. Yeah, me and Anish used to do that.
Nice. Yeah. Who's Anish?
Anish?
Yeah.
Anish, our Cove basketball
guy.
Player.
Yeah. Okay, and another one, basketball or football?
Football, man. What, playing?
Either.
Playing to play football.
You're right. I think I knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Or watching different to watch?
My watching football thing is just,
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't.
No.
I've
Do you watch a lot of basketball?
not really.
No,
It's-
me
you
neither.
know what? And you know when I watch
Me
it, you know,
neither.
the only time I watch basketball is if I'm around you lot, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, I'll take an interest and start watching it a bit. You know what I mean? So I know everyone's talking about.
To be quite honest with you, I just catch highlights on Instagram.
Yeah, same thing.
That is it. And that kind of satisfies me. I'm like, okay, I saw who won the game. I saw a couple dunks or a couple nice layups, and I don't need to watch the game.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Last question from me, in case we've got anything else we want to add. But looking back, what advice would you give to a young you starting up in the music game now, from in hindsight, with your experience?
Oh God, what would I tell a young me?
In a nice, nurturing way. From a mentor kind of point of view.
In a mentor thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to say everything that's on your mind.
Okay. Good advice.
It's good to shut up sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas when I was younger, I didn't care. I just highly opinionated and just say whatever and did not, you know what I mean?
Did that get you into hot water?
Yeah, a few times. But you know, what are they going to do?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. Good advice.
Yeah.
Talking about timeline in music and the evolution of sound, of your sound, of various musicians' sounds, people often start off quite harder, younger, and then kind of get a bit jazzier, maybe a bit more instrumental as they get older. Why do you think that is?
For me personally, I mean, number one is that there's that young energy as well.
Yeah.
It's just a fact, you know what I mean? So, and when the music we was making when we was younger, it was like, we was trying to break all the sound barriers per se, you know what I mean? Like literally try and twist music into a whole new format, you know? That was the energy behind a lot of the drum and bass and the rave stuff, you know?
Yeah, because it's also at that age, it's new, right?
It's new. There's a whole excitement there,
new.
yeah. And plus, and also there's the fact that I was never a musician. I've never been musically trained or anything.
Yeah.
So there's lots of mistakes in there and lots of
and there's less rules.
Less rules, yeah. You're just going for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as time goes on, you know, you think about music that you love as well, and you want to incorporate that in with your, you know, taking that forward, and that starts to have more influence as well on you, you know? So
would you say that as you got older, you start to create your own rules?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Through taste and
through taste
experience.
and stuff, yeah. I mean, like, I think what you want to say at, you know, 18, 19 years old, and what you want to say at, you know, 28 years old, 38 years old, 48 years old are different things.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't see the point in me pretending to be that angry and whatever.
Yeah, because 18 is middle finger. And then
exactly. Yeah. And, and then later on, you kind of understand things. Like, there's a way to go about this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's a bigger picture look on things.
Yeah.
So I think that's the music changes due to that as well. And I honestly think it's a lot of it is a lot to do with energy. Basically, it's like when I was like, you know, in my teens and early 20s, I could concentrate so easily on doing the most nitpicky things, programming on the sample.
Oh yeah, you've got time for that stuff.
I've got time for that.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain age, I ain't got time for that now. I have no energy. I've done that.
It's bedtime.
No, dude, I'm in bed by 10 o'clock.
100%. Me too.
Real talk.
Me too.
You know
Whereas before it'd be like snares like
yeah.
Now it's like this snare's good.
That was the one way you would do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's a lot of that as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the excitement that, you know, people think about with that music there is in a different place in the music. It's still there.
Mm.
It's just you're hearing it in a different place. You know, that mini moog bass line, that's all the excitement there.
Yeah.
The runs are all in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The energy's in there.
That drum mad shuffle or whatever, it's over here instead.
It's distilled.
Yeah.
You've distilled it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
Nice. I respect for that one.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know?
You'd fucking hope so though, right?
Huh?
You'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want. You want to get to a point of distilling like everything, right? I don't know.
I mean, there's some people we could, you know, you could talk about, and it's very, all right, it's very hard to, what I'm proud of is that I've been able to do music for like, oh God, how many years has it been now? Yeah, 30 years or 30 odd years of music.
That's amazing.
Right? And
it's absolutely amazing.
I'm still, people are still buying my music. And I'm still
also amazing.
And still, I mean, yeah, people are asking me to perform, which I don't want to do anymore. Still ask me to do that, or to spin at events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's still an interest. It's very hard for an artist to have a career that goes more than 7 years. If you think about a lot of groups and whatever, it's only 2 or 3 albums and then they just disappear.
Majority, yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to continue doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I take pride in that.
You really should. You really should. Because it's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy, yeah.
It's tougher than it's tougher than it's been too.
Yeah.
So
we're in a very saturated market.
What was it Wiley said? Evolve and or be extinct or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember what was the name of the album, but that's it. That's the case. No, but that's an amazing, you know, you should really be proud of that. Is there a point in your career that you're like really proud of, like a kind of stage looking back?
What I'm proud of is that we came up through the UK hip hop scene as well, which is MC Mello, Moni Love, No Parking MCs, Gus is in a group called Trouble, and various other Demon Boys, London Posse, I know Business and stuff.
Yeah.
So we grew up through that, and we saw these people trying to get record deals. And our thing was like, if we ever make records, you know, we're not asking anyone to make records, we just press it ourselves. That's my proudest thing, is that I remember Mark saying, if we ever do this, we just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what my whole career has been based on. Just do it yourself. Just get on with it.
Yeah.
Don't wait for anyone to come and hand out anything to you.
And that still rings true with artists now. Like, you know, Skepta, loads of people who are doing it for themselves independently.
Those young kids, they've taken it to a whole nother level. I respect to them.
Yeah.
You know, some of the deals they pulled off, or whatever.
Yeah, their work
fantastic.
ethic
They worked it,
yeah.
and we thought we worked it ourselves. You know, I signed to 2 majors at the same time at one point. You know what I mean? So, you know,
but you did what you did it within what you could at that time.
Yeah. And I like the fact that we done it ourselves, and they came to us. They had to come to us. And then we were like, all right, we'll give you this or whatever.
Because you've kept the power with that.
Exactly.
That's cool.
You know, never sold my publishing, stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know
right.
What I mean? So those are the types of things I'm proud of. Like,
I still don't really understand publishing and how that works.
That's a whole nother...
Why do you ever need to do that? I don't get it at all. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Talking about inspiration. And, you know, we asked you for a tune, the first, you know, one of the first hip hop tunes from 1983. Who are you listening to now that you kind of want to give props to, or you say was inspiring you musically?
Inspiring me musically.
It's a tough one.
It's a very tough one. I mean, I have a problem stuck in the past because I'm discovering so much music from yesteryear.
But is it stuck in the past if music is timeless?
Yeah,
And there's no timeline in music?
I hear you, yeah. But you want to also be. I want to be amazed and inspired by people who are making stuff now, but it's just so hard to like go through stuff. You know what I mean?
It's it's wading through.
Yeah, it's really difficult. You know, and I'm busy doing what I'm doing anyway. There's not much time to like check out. And that's something I don't know how to access it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't have Spotify, just on principle and stuff, you know what I mean?
But that's why I think radio still is so important for that, because there's people that are getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
To put together playlists and wade through stuff. Because what was it? I heard some crazy number of tunes that get uploaded per day to Spotify. Just in the UK, it's like 30,000 or something. Or
that's
more.
madness.
How are you going to
handle that? Go through that.
But,
so I'm just listening to, like, at the moment, I'm listening to a lot of 60s Latin music.
Yep.
Trying to get into a lot of that.
What are you listening to this week from that genre? You got a name?
God, name. You want me to give names?
No, you don't have to. Yeah. But I thought I'd ask.
I wish I could remember the names.
I'm really bad with names. I've got my pet hate has been asked to name songs or artists. I'm like, I'm not that person. There are people that used to be that guy. That. Yeah, I'm not that guy.
I'm not that guy anymore.
No, me neither.
I've got to go get the cover. I could say, I can describe the cover of the record for you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the name of the group.
Yeah. And I used to always ask if I was going to be interviewed for a magazine or anything like that. I'd always, from past experience, I'd be like, let me know if you want me to do a top 5 of like what I'm listening to at the moment in advance.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to answer that question on the spot.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I need to like actually like prep those answers. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Because I just go like, I don't know. I climb up.
Yeah, I can't think new things that I'm into.
I don't know if I could answer that question.
I can't tell you who new stuff.
No, but the thing is I think you've answered the question by saying you're listening to 60s Latin music. That's what you're listening to at the moment that's inspiring you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But no artist, you can't name an artist from that genre.
I can't tell you what their names are. No.
Or tune.
If you'd give my phone, I could tell you.
All right, okay. All right. Dego, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really good to chat to you and good to see you too. It's been a while. Thanks for watching Toast and Jams. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe to stay updated. And to hear our guest tune selection, check out the playlist or the link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, of course, and see you next time. This has been a joint production between Toast and Jams and Allan Brothers Films.